Hey everybody, it's your pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, bringing you Monday Minutes. I'm back at it once again, and this is going to be a fairly lengthy tutorial. This is all about mapping. I don't know if I'm just failing to comprehend, or maybe it just doesn't exist, or maybe I haven't seen a tutorial out there that anyone has done that sort of bridges the gap between people trying to map other people's sequences with models that have groups, with models that don't have groups. So I've been working with this. This is my third attempt to do this video today because my setup here, I added some technology to it and my audio and video is sort of freaking out a little bit. So I'm going to try one more time. So there might be little cuts here and there because as I get going, I'm going to stop this and then I'll start the next segment. So bear with me. My mouse is also acting weird. I don't know why it doesn't. Now my mouse works. Hi. Okay, folks, here we go. Look, there are some things in life that we just have to accept. And one of these things we have to accept is that we are never going to have any standardization on how things are done in this hobby. With xLights, with making models, with making coral props, with sequencing, we are never going to have that standardization because everybody has a different style, and this is the way people project their creativity. And if it's allowed to happen, then who is to say it's the wrong way? There is no wrong way. It's just their way. It's my way, it's your way, it's their way, it's our way. It doesn't matter. But can we do anything to improve this? You spend all this money buying other people's sequences perhaps, or maybe you're getting shares, and then you sit down and you bring the music in and you're ready to map and you're like, his groups don't seem to work on anything over here that's just submodels. There's submodels under the model, but there are no groups. So we're going to go down a path today and see what we can do about this. And I'm hopeful that you'll glean some insight to this and turn it into actionable processes on your side. And I hope that you comment in the comment section below, letting me know, did this work, did this not work? Before we get going, smash that thumbs up. We sure love it when you do that. And consider subscribing to the channel. It certainly helps. I'm never going to make a living from making YouTube videos. I'm not going to be that viral guy unless I started wearing a diaper during my videos. And I'm old enough now, that's probably not too far away now, is it? All right, let's get going with this. There are a lot of gotchas with this. I'm going to go over to my layouts and just know that what I'm going to be showing you is what works for me and I'm hoping might be a workaround for you. Please don't take this as the only way to do this. I don't believe it is. And I'm hopeful that the developers will be paying attention to see if some of the requests I'm going to suggest or make are worth it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what we have here is a fairly basic layout. I have some Gilbert Engineering HD props in here. We're going to focus mostly on the props here when we talk about mapping for now. Going from a megatree to a megatree is pretty simple. Mini tree to mini tree, star to star, and all that. We won't get too deep into that. So here is a Rosa Grande. Here are a couple of GE fusions. Here's a click, click, boom. Some flakes on here. And then I have added a showstopper flake to this. So we're going to talk about this in just a minute. I also want to talk about the different ways that we can bring a model in and why it's important to know these. Now, certainly we can just click on this download arrow, bring a model in from xLights. We can import a model, but there's going to be another way I'm going to show you that you might want to consider bringing in a model. Specifically, if you're working with sequences that you have purchased from a vendor that might have changed the models. Maybe they added submodels, submodel groups to that model that isn't available from xLights. And I'm going to demonstrate that now. So here's a model that I think is pretty cool from Boscoyo. This is called the Ice Queen. Ketchup, ketchup, ketchup. There we go. And so I'm just going to search for it. Ice Queen. And I have to hit search a few times because I am looking for the 46-inch version. There it is. 500 nodes, 46-inch version of the Boscoyo Ice Queen. Boom. There we are. Import aliases. No, I don't need that for this. So here's what it looks like. And there we are. And if we look at the submodels for this, we'll see that there is a few. There's outline, tip, star 1, 2, model, middle star 1, 2, and an outer star. That's it. That's all that's in this that you get from xLights, nothing else. Now, you may be getting sequences. Maybe you're getting them from PPD or Showstoppers or somebody else that may have this flake. They may have more submodels. So you can't always count on it being accurate in xLights. Maybe you have to go to the vendor's site to see if there's a download there, or maybe you take it upon yourself and get it from the vendor that might match the same model to what you're going to sequence or map into. So in this case here, also take note of this. Notice that the width and height of this is 81 by 69. That is pretty low res stuff there. So what I'm going to suggest is maybe see if there's another version out there. I have one. A few years ago, I took it upon myself to do, I think, 10 sequences. I think it was 10 Halloween, 10 Christmas. I don't really remember. But I wanted to do just high-density add-ons for Boscoyo models to see how they look with the sequences and offer them to people who buy those models that might get my sequences. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to see how that would work out. If you're concerned about having the right model from a sequencer, yes, we can download it from xLights. Yes, we can import an X model. But did you know about this one? And I've done videos, but maybe you didn't see it. I can simply right-click on the background, click Import Previews Models Groups, right? And when I do that, it's going to say, where do you want to go? So I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm already here. This is my Psycho Boscoyo HD add-on. And all I'm looking for is the RGB effects of this sequencer's show directory. And here it is. And I click open. And we're going to get a window that opens up here. And this is going to give us an option of models, submodel groups that we can bring in. In this case here, I am interested only in the Ice Queen. So I will select each one of these. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. That's looking good. And just a few more. Oh, yeah, they did a good job with these. And it's very, very important. Don't just stop with the submodel groups. You are going to need the main model. So in this case here, it will be the Boscoyo Ice Queen Snowflake. Boom, click OK. And what's going to happen is there is the model. Now, let's be fair here. Let's look at the pixel size of this. I bet you in the appearance, this is probably set to something really high. I'm going to change this to 2 so it matches the other. And this is 2. And as you can see, there's certainly a difference in the resolution between the two of these. This one's resolution is going to be quite a bit higher. And I'll click here and I'll show you this. This is set to 557 by 561. Will xLights bark about this with a possible warning? Yes, it probably will. If you're worried about that and you're rocking that in Celeron, 8 gigs of RAM, well, maybe you want to right click in here and tell this to shrink space by 50%. It's not going to really change this much at all. I'll go ahead and do it and show you the difference. Click OK. You see any change? I don't see much of a change. That's still good resolution. The reason people like myself or Eric, Gary Hatt, will create these models with more resolution is so that we can get detail with straight lines and curvatures. Now, if we look at this, we're going to see that this is half the size, 283 by 285 cells, and it will be fine. Doesn't impact any of the models. Now, I will say this. If you have a fairly complex spinner, and you're going to be using the Marion Cherry technique using the symmetrized rotational, having more resolution is probably better to keep that symmetry. Otherwise, it may not recognize. Then when you're done with that, you can reduce it and you'll be fine. I don't know that I've heard of anybody's system choking because the resolution of a model was too high, but not everyone has told me whether that has or hasn't happened, so maybe it has. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get rid of this one. I don't need that. I want to keep this one. We'll leave you right there. And you'll notice that when I brought this in, not only did it bring in the model, it did bring in all the submodel groups. And now I can kind of just arrow down through all these to see them. And we're looking good. We're looking really good. I like it. Okay, so now I feel pretty good about that. Let's get to some more housekeeping because I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. I'm going to go to my sequencer where I already have effects for this song, and I'm just going to render this. No, I haven't put any effects on the Showstopper flake. I haven't put any effects on this Boscoyo flake, but I want you to just sort of see what this is doing. Got some things going on. Right away, you're going to go, Ron, you just lied. You said you didn't put any effects on the Boscoyo flake. Well, I didn't. I'm not lying. But when you bring over something into your show directory from another show directory, there's a chance that model you bring over is going to carry a little bit of baggage with it. It's going to carry over channels. So you have to come over here. You only have to do this once. Either give it the right controller and output numbers that it needs, or just tell it to use no controller. I would love to see this as an enhancement so that when people bring over models, it defaults to no controller instead of bringing over the baggage, because nobody wants baggage. Nobody wants baggage. So you click save, you come over here, you double check, make sure that overlaps is not showing anything showing up red. Nothing is stepping on each other, and then life is good again. Go back to your sequencer, I can render this, and now once I start playing this, now nothing's playing on the Boscoyo prop. So we're good. Always hit save. xLights crashed during my second attempt to record this, so always hit save. And now we're good. This is going to take us to the next section where I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah, we're going to talk about hierarchy. So hang on for this. One of the challenges in the mapping process is ensuring that you have the correct hierarchy, specifically with these high density models. And some of these high density models have a lot of submodels and or a lot of submodel groups. And if you want the sequence to look like it did with the sequencer's version, then you have to pay attention to that. And we control this by right-clicking on Edit Display Elements, getting to it, and checking out our view. The master view and the main sequence view. The master view is what xLights recognizes as the only view it is going to adhere to as far as the order hierarchy of the models with the layers, the top down, bottom up. That's what it looks at. We're able to create other views and make them the master view at will. So if you have sequences from PPD or Showstoppers or from Blinky Lights, and you're working with their stuff, you should probably be in their view when you start to map one of their sequences. So it's in the hierarchy order of their world. This is very, very important, and I think it's something that's overlooked too often. In this case, we have a brand new model that we brought in. The master view and the main sequence view has no knowledge of this and will ignore it until you bring it in and train this sequence view to be in the right order, and then you will make that a master view if this is what you need to map with. So I'm going to select all of the Boscoyo Ice Queen, and I'm just going to drag this over here on top of the Rosa Grande so it's just above it. The other thing I'm going to do is drag this Ice Queen up here on the very top where it should be. And with time permitting, I would really want to put this in the correct order. For the folks that get my sequences, I have a PDF that's available as a download for my Halloween and for my Christmas that will show you the order of these models that you need to put them in. Okay, I do this for every one of my props that has submodel groups. Okay, that's very important. But I keep coming back to this. Isn't there a better way? Couldn't there be a better way to ensure that when these are pulled over here, that they're put in an order? Or perhaps if we bring in a model that has submodel groups, is there not a way to have the display elements recognize that order and allow you to keep that order based on the X model? I mean, the X model has improved substantially over the years in that now it includes not only the models, the submodels, the submodel groups when you bring it in. It also now learns and will honor aliases. So this is all really amazing stuff to improve our efficiencies when we're working with xLights and these models and these submodel groups. But this one doesn't work that way. Basically, you can put it in alphabetical order. Great. Or you can do like showstoppers and number everything. I just don't want to go back and renumber all these models and submodels to put them in some type of alphabetical order or alphanumerical order. I think that's a lot, and I'd have to go back and change a lot of things. And certainly with aliases, maybe that makes it easier, but I just have to feel there's a better way to do this. Now, again, nobody's really complained about this too much over the years, because remember, we used to actually solder pigtails onto lights, and we used to use Excel spreadsheets for configuring our layout, and we used to do our own wiring and creating our own submodels. Things have changed, haven't they? There is another way to get this in here, but I'm going to show you what this looks like, and I'm going to show you my concerns about this. If I were to click import, we actually import from the Boscoyo folder that has that song, that has a correct version of the model. Yes, one more time, boom. Now, since the HD add-on from the Boscoyo sequence only matches one model, it's all we're going to get. It doesn't magically bring in the mesmerizer and the geobell and all the other stuff. It just brings us in. And it brings it in the correct order. Notice the ice queen's at the top, followed by the queen arms, inner, outer, spoke, blah, 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 all the way down. Well, how do I get this into my main sequence view? How can I just get this into here? I can't take all of this and drag it up to this. That doesn't work. I can't right click and tell it to merge. I mean, I can sort by name but groups at top. Most sequencers aren't going to use any of this, especially the sort by alphabetical. I mean, that's a tough one. The same as current master view? Wonder what that would do. Let's see what it does. Yeah, see, that's no bueno. That's no bueno. I bet I can't do edit undo. But the point is, if I can, and I'll do this again, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to import from file, and this is going to be the song that has the model and groups in a particular order that I want, brings it in here. How can we get this into the sequence view here? And then I can make it master. How can we make this process better for all those people out there mapping other people's sequences to adhere this hierarchy, but merge it into here? I just want this into here. That's it. I can't do that because the moment I take all this and scoot it over here to the other side, I don't think it's going to retain that order. Let's try it though. Let's just scoot this over, and then I'll come down here. No, it does not. It just puts it back in alphabetical order, so that dog doesn't hunt. And that's kind of it makes me sad, man. Makes me sad. I just wish there was a way we could do that to ensure we get this in the correct order here before we make it a master view. So if you're a developer out there for xLights, comment below, say, dude, you are on crack. We're never going to do that. It makes no sense. Just renumber all of your models. And all the other sequencers, renumber all your models too. I just feel like maybe there's a better way. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? All right, so we're going to leave that order as it is. I'm going to go over here to my layout because I've been messing in the layout from the sequencing tab side of life. You have to always do that. When it's red, you want to push it. Let's look at some effects at this point. And what we're going to start with is we're going to start with repurposing effects from these other GE HD models or HD effects at the group level and repurpose them to the Boscoyo Ice Queen. You ready for this? Let's get going. Okay, so we have some effects here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with what I call whole model effects. So we know a whole house effects is like the all pixels group or everything pixels group or whatever you may call it, where you have effects that blanket your entire home or your whole display or sections of your home. In this case here, I define whole model effects as something like maybe Rosa Grande, where I have a pinwheel on it. And if I have multiple Rosa Grandes, then all the pinwheels are doing the same thing on it. So we have these effects that start right here. So I'm going to grab this section. So it's important that you do have timings. In my last tutorial, I talked about how you can create timings if they don't exist by just choosing all the selects and making them create timings with an existing timing track that might be here. In this case here, we copy it. I'm going to right click up here and put the number 1 as sort of a chapter head in case I have to go way down on the list or way up on the list to find out where I'm going to put this. This sort of is a little bit of a navigation aid for me. And I'm going to scroll up here to the Boscoyo section where I have the main group. I'm going to insert multiple layers. By default, it will put 2 in there. And then I'm like, where am I putting this here? Am I putting this here? Oh, I'm putting it here. There's my little chapter there, my little navigation tool. I'm going to paste this here. Now, for whatever reason, this is doing something kind of funky. So on the second time I paste it, it pastes fine. This is probably just because I'm using pre-flight. I get all the beta stuff way in advance, so it just was acting weird. I'll take it away again. Let's see if I can make it do something weird again. No, now it's fine. So do pay attention when you're pasting things to make sure they go in the right cell. Okay, there we go. That looks good right there. I'm looking at the model preview, which shows me only the effects for the model in that section. And then I've got something going on here. I don't know why that's even in there, because in the, yeah, whatever that is, I don't even like that there. I'm going to change that. Perfect. And because I don't like the way this looks in this section, I'm going to move it somewhere else until, oh, there we go. I like that. I think that's kind of cool. All right, so that takes care of that. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is sort of the really fun part about mapping that I think maybe people overlook. People seem to think that the only way to map is click import, find the zip file, and try to figure it out, mapping like for like effects from one model or submodel group to the other. That is one way, and there are benefits to doing that, but I think you should also know how to do it this way. And this could be a lot of fun. I hear all the time, almost every year, people go, well, I don't buy other people's sequences because they all just look like somebody else. And I'm thinking to myself, do you have 5 neighbors in your city that all get sequences from the same sequence vendor? I bet not. But if you make modifications to the sequence, you can make it look really unique and unlike everyone else's, including the sequencer. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to grab a section from the front, and maybe I'm just going to grab all of these, and we're going to sort of guess where we might put them. All right, so I'm going to go from the beginning. Now, the one caveat here is if you see a lot of layers, and you see a lot of layer blendings being used, for instance, this guy right here is using max. You might want to make sure that when you look at this, you either change the layer blending to nothing, or you make sure that whenever you're going to paste this section somewhere, maybe make sure it has 2 layers. Okay, so if I know I'm going to grab this section here, let's say I'm going to grab all this. I know that the 3rd layer down and wherever I'm putting this really should have 2 layers. So let's just take a peek here. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and put my chapter start here as a reference. I'm going to scroll down here until we get to, or maybe I'm going to scroll up here until we get to all the Boscoyo stuff. And maybe I'm going to start with the arms, which means 1, 2, 3, or maybe I'll start with the spokes. 1, 2, 3. No, I don't like that. 1, 2, 3. We'll do this. We're going to add 1 layer above. So if I paste right here, it's going to paste this section, and then this will be 2 because it has some layer blending in there. And then the rest will sort itself out, and we'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Right? I'm going to go up here, and I am going to paste here. There we go. And let's see what we get. We're just going to kind of look at these effects, see how they're jiving here. Does that look good? I mean, it's okay. It's using per model per preview, which might be great on a native model or submodel group. So maybe I'll change this to overlay centered. That looks a little bit better, closer to what I might want. I'm going to leave it right there. I like that. I'm going to look at this and I'm thinking, man, the Ice Queen balls are cool, but I think this could be used somewhere else. Do something a little bit better. Okay, there we go. We'll leave that. I'm going to look at this effect. Do I like that? Not so much. And again, this is just playing. This is just playing. Okay, that's kind of cool. We go to the next one. Do we like that? And you're simply just going to be moving these around until you find a good home for them that makes it look unique. Okay, and you do this throughout the process. Now here's that one with the max. Does that look good? If it looks good, leave it alone. If it doesn't, start playing around with it. Oh, that's kind of neat. I sort of like that. That's different. That doesn't bother me at all. And you do this throughout the entire sequence. If you feel like there should be more than just this thing happening, then come on down here, maybe find a different effect, maybe grab a couple, copy these, come on back up here, and where's that baton? Man, I like that baton. The baton's pretty cool. There we go. That. These are overlay centered. Now, I'm not digging that one. Crown, maybe. I'm gonna go back up here. Okay, that I like. That's pretty cool. And you can see the whole effect on the house. So when you're clicked on one of these, you're sort of just seeing that effect. But I come back over here. That looks okay. I'm good with that. And so this is a great technique. It's great practice for you to repurpose effects already there. Now, yes, we can come over to import, and I could import from this song, which is on the desktop, and maybe this would be a zip file. Maybe you just know where it's at. This is from the FJ Keynes test I did way back. And you click this and you get the mapping dialog box. So let's say you spent some time over here and you've sort of identified that there are certain models that do so well from the pull my finger, click, click, boom effects from that submodel group. You know that they just look so good on the baton of the Boscoyo. And so if you click over here and you put this on Ice Queen baton, and you love the results, before you're finished in this mapping process, click Update All Aliases. And what this will do, this will train, this will associate the alias of Pull My Finger, I know it's a funny name, to the Queen Baton group, the Ice Queen Baton group. So when you auto map the next time, any effects that are in Pull My Finger group is from that click, click, boom, it's going to automatically go over to the Queen Baton. And you could save this mapping file and save it, as, xTreme to Boscoyo mapping file, or give it a name of the song or something like that. And you can always continue building this up till you get to that, sort of a pseudo mapping, master mapping file based on what you need. Okay, so there is that. I like this technique because I can get instant feedback in real time what's happening with the effects. Speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and render this, and I'm going to save this because I don't want xLights to crash and me to lose all this mapping work. Now, xLights will save every 3 minutes, but I can get a lot done in 2 minutes and 59 seconds and have it crash. Ask me how I know. I know. All right. Let's talk about something that's a little more difficult. Let's talk about this model over here. This is the Showstopper Snowflake. The Showstopper Snowflake, when I downloaded it from xLights, it does not have submodel groups. It has submodels. So if we look at the submodels, well, that's partly a lie. I created some. This has snowflakes, spinning diamonds. I mean, this thing is loaded with submodels. A lot of submodels, okay? So what I've done is I've taken 3 of these submodels and I've moved them to the top. Please don't move these out of order. your sequencer probably worked very hard to put them in a very specific order. So I would leave those alone. I did this because I wanted to quickly identify these on the list. I created a group, a submodel group from each of these. I simply right-clicked on it and I told it to split. And that split showed up down here. I did this 3 times. I did it with outward bounce, I did it with the TM snowflake, and I did it with fountain cascades, so that I would end up with 3 new groups. So what I did, once I did that, I had to come over to the model. I had to click in here. I had to go find those splits. And here are the 6 splits. Here are the 12 splits. And here are another 6 splits. I had to come over here. I had to right click on this, create a group from selection, and give it a name, because these 3 new submodel groups we want to pull over. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go back to our sequencer. I also created a submodel group for the main model, which would be the snowflakes group, the showstopper snowflakes group. If I double click in here, this is the model. Typically, when people get their model, it's this. They don't have a group called snowflake group. I use a group because if I use a whole model effect and I put it in the group, and there are multiple models, 4, 5, 6 of these snowflakes, they're all going to get the same effects. If we double click on this, this is where we see all of the submodels broken out. And from my understanding, and don't quote me on this, but I believe most of the effects are put in at the submodel level, not the groups. And maybe they do it both ways. I don't know. I don't have their sequences. So let's just take this, and I'm sure someone will correct me. So I'm going to double click here, and it gets rid of that. At the snowflake group, I would probably add 2 layers, and I would get this section here, Ice Queen, copy this, then I would paste this up here. This way, I'm getting those groups, those effects in the groups like the others to match. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Oh, I should be over here. Looking at the wrong one. There we go. And that looks good. And that makes quick work for that. But now it's time to fill in some more of this model here. And I don't know if I like that. I really don't. I sort of just, that's just going to drive me crazy, but I'm going to leave it alone because I think that's how all the other ones are doing it. Well, oh, it would probably help if I put it on overlay center. Oh, no, honey child, put it back on vertical. Let's fill in some of the existing effects from the Rosa Grande or anything else, or even from the Boscoyo effects, and put them into play. And I'm going to use, for example, I think we'll use this section here. How's that look? I think that's a good idea. Let's copy this. And let's play around with some effects on the showstopper flake. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put this right here, and we're going to see how this looks. And I'm going to get rid of the whole group flake. I just don't want that. Let's isolate this. So this is what this is looking like. And let me change this color so you can better see this. And now I've put too many colors in. If I'm trying to make this look like the intended effect, this is not it. If I click on per preview, that is definitely not it. Single line, nope. I can start playing with transformation and trying to get it to do things. That dog's not going to hunt. I can use vertical per strand. That is not going to hunt. And horizontal, that's sort of just doing the same thing. So I'm back to my default. So that's not doing what I want. If I go to my outward bounce, that's not quite what I'm looking for. And again, if I go to this guy here, the fountain cascade, it's a nice submodel, that's not really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to X out of here. And I'm going to double click on this showstopper snowflake. And what I'm going to do here is I want to now click on one of these groups that I've created for it. I'm just going to move this guy out of the way. There we go. I'm going to click on this TM snowflake. I'm going to paste this here, and right now I need to put this on overlay center. which is how I would have done mine. And now this is looking normal. This is looking the way I want it to look, the way it looks on my props, in my show. Again, this is the fountain cascade. This looks very similar. I can thicken this up so you can see that better. I can put this on why am I missing one? I feel like I am missing one. Well, these will illustrate it. Let's go over here. Let's go over here to edit display elements. Let's figure out why I might be missing one. That should be over here. Showstopper. I have the TM fountain, and looks like one did not come over. That is the flake. Maybe it did not save. I don't think it did, but that's okay. We'll leave it alone. But I think the idea here is, if you're having trouble getting effects from a group to work properly on a submodel, not in a group, consider making that submodel, putting it into a group using splits, or you could try just putting it in a group. So let's see how this works. This might even save you some time. So if I were to come over and look at the entire model, and I were to look at, let's find something pretty interesting here. Yeah, spinning diamonds. Let's look at that. I could right-click, create a group from selection, call this showstopper underscore flake underscore spinning diamond underscore group. Sure. And say OK. Save. Come back to my sequencer, right-click, edit display elements. Now we have a brand new model right here. So I'm going to drag this over and put this right here. There we go. Let's make sure we are on our main sequence view. Make master. Get out of here. I'm going to click layout save, because if xLights crashes, I lose all that fun work. And what I'm going to do now is I want to see, how does this look at this group level? I'm probably going to need to render. So let's bring you down to here. And that may work just fine. That may just work fine. That's overlay center. I'm going to change this to something that I always test with, which is single strand. Okay, but now that's not behaving the way I would normally want it to. This is somehow doing a transformation. It's almost like it's doing a 90-degree transformation. So if I rotate it 90 degrees, well, then I get the effect I want in the first place, but I don't want to have to rotate it 90 degrees. I just want this to work at the group level with this. The difference is the group consists of a submodel stuck in a group instead of the splits put in a group. Can you see the difference? So I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to go back to this. It's not that it's a bad effect, it's just not doing what it should be. So could I come over here and go to per model per preview? No, sir. Single line? No, sir. Not going to work. Vertical per model per preview? Yeah, that works. But the idea is, how do we put this in such a way that you don't have to be messing with the layer settings for your render styles? You just want to map it over. And if I'm using overlay center, and overlay center goes onto that group that you've created using splits, it should just work. But if you just put the submodel in a group, then maybe not so. Yes, as I explained in the very beginning, there are so many ways to do this, and there's not going to be a standardization. So you have some choices to make. There are several ways you can accomplish this. The question is, what's the most efficient? And that may be a journey that you have to take upon yourself. All right. This has been a lot. And if your head is sort of just pounding, trying to figure out what the heck am I supposed to do when I map, I get it. I get it. This is just one of these things. This why I'm so passionate about this is when it comes to artistry, I do not believe in saying there is one way to do something. Everybody expresses it in their own unique manner, which means if xLights allows it, then certainly it must be okay, right? I am hoping that you will try some of these techniques and post in the comments below what worked, what didn't work. This is really important, I think, to the community to help make your xLights journey more efficient, so you can steal back some of that time to hang out with your family and not be pulling your hair out trying to figure out how to make someone's sequence over here look good on someone else's props over here. That's what community is all about, trying to work together and figure this out together. So devs, you've seen it, maybe you've watched it, let me know your thoughts. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for hanging out if you've done it this long, and we will catch you hopefully next week. I'm Ron. It's been Monday Minutes. We'll see ya.